Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Teaching Tales. I am Brent Coley, your host, and in today's episode, I am thrilled to have joining me a fellow elementary school principal, the amazing Amy Fadeji. Amy, how you doing?
I'm good, Brent. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. I know we've had very busy schedules, and it's taken a while to kind of like Ann Cosmo last week's episode of getting everything, the stars aligning, but we've finally done it. And I know you start school tomorrow.
Yes, I'm a little crazy right now. I have I'm barricaded in my office because there's probably a lot of things I should be doing right now. But yeah, our students come back tomorrow.
Wow, you are committed to this podcast, and I appreciate it. So we should probably get things rolling so that you can get back to your staff.
My to-do list. All right.
Yeah, exactly. But for anyone who is not familiar with Amy, just give listeners a brief intro. Who is Amy Fadeji, and what do you do?
That's funny. I'm thinking, who listens to this? I feel like no one probably knows. So I am an elementary school principal, like you said, up in Petaluma, California. My school is called Penngrove Elementary. You can follow us on Twitter at Penn Panthers. And I'm about to start my 5th year as the principal here. So prior to that, I taught 2nd grade and 3rd grade, and I taught ESL for a little while, K-6. And I'm from California. I lived in Alabama for a while, and that's a random story. And then, so this is yet year 5 of the principalship, which is hard to believe.
I'm getting ready to start year 5 myself of the principalship.
Oh,
I was talking with one of my teachers yesterday. It's like, I can't believe, I hired her when I came on. I can't believe that it's already been starting 5 years.
Yeah, it goes by really quickly. I'm glad we can feel old together about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we talked before we started, and when we were kind of prepping, like, well, what do we want to talk about? What kind of stories? We thought, well, how about getting ready for the start of school? I mean, you literally are starting tomorrow. I have about a month left, but we thought maybe sharing some stories of things that you do either with your staff or that you've seen your teachers do that can help get the year off to a great start. So anyone that's listening to this as they're getting ready, maybe it's something that they can be encouraged or inspired by. So anything particular, any story that you want to share regarding that?
Well, so the beginning of the school year is actually my favorite time of the year. I mean, I find there are so many high peaks throughout the school year, but I feel like the start of the school year is a really special time. And I love just capitalizing on the excitement. You know, kids are finding out who their teachers are, and they're getting new backpacks. And I just found out today we're going to be having Domino's pizza on Fridays now in our cafeteria. Ooh. There's the healthy kind, of course, if there is such a thing. So like there's all this newness that surrounds the beginning of the school year. And so for me, I just love capitalizing on that with my staff, trying to get them. I mean, we all know that it's hard to come back when we've been on summer mode. I didn't make it in today until 8:45, so I really am going to have to kick it in high gear tomorrow. But I try to make it as fun and exciting as I can for my staff. They come back about 4 days before students. And then I know that trickles into the classroom. I mean, they are currently, it's a teacher work day, and so they're prepping and labeling and thinking of fun activities for their students to do tomorrow. So one example, we only have our kindergartners come on campus before school starts, so they have a meet the teacher later this afternoon. Uh-huh. And so their teachers have put together a scavenger hunt, which is super fun every year. The kids get to do with their families, go through and find all these things. And then this year we added at the end, we're going to have a Kona shaved ice truck here.
Nice.
And all the kindergartners are going to get a little shaved ice. We just try to add new things on every year. So, we've done the scavenger hunt in the past, and now we're like, okay, let's do something to personalize it, to get kids excited. And so just adding little details like that is really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, because if there's excitement for the students, learning is going to go. I mean, I remember last year on the first day of school, I was walking through classes and I went into one of our 5th grade teachers' classrooms. Donnie Walton, if you're listening, you're the man. And I know he does listen, so you're going to get a shout out here, Donnie. But I remember just going around, walking through, and say, "Hey guys, how we doing? How's the first day going?" And I went up to one of the girls in the class and I said, "Hey, how's the first day going?" And I will never forget the look on her face. She kind of turned up at me, looked, and just said, "I'm going to love it in here."
Oh.
And just with a look on her face that was just, she was so content. That's like the best. She was just so happy to be in that class. And they were in there for like an hour.
Right.
And her words were, I'm going to love it in here. So he was doing, I mean, rules and procedures. Yeah, that's important. You got to do that stuff. But that's not what the focus was. I mean, the focus was getting her excited.
Right.
And then you can do all that other stuff. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's been fun this last week. Like that, capturing that like student excitement. I wish you could just like bottle that up. We've been this last week. We do our data confirmation. Like instead of parents filling out emergency cards every year, we do it online now. Mm-hmm. So I kind of hold hostage who your teacher is until your parents fill out, they give us all their emergency information and blah, blah. So
we do exactly the same thing.
It's so great. So all week long, families have been trickling in and I'll hear them at the counter. And then it's like this quiet pause while our office staff grabs them their list. And then you just hear this like, yes, and your little pitter pattering of feet. Like I told my staff, if you need a self-confidence boost, like people have been, I mean, celebrating, just like, it's so cute. And I know that's all part of, the community that teacher you just shared that story about, is creating. And, I mean, I was on the phone with that company Fast Signs, which I've never ordered anything from them before, but I called this morning and I said, okay, how fast are your signs? Because I just want a sign out tomorrow that's like, welcome back Panthers. So that, I don't know, just building that community. And my goal tomorrow is for every kid to just feel that we are truly just celebrating and so excited that they're back on campus.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the best. That first day of school when you're out front greeting kids, they're coming in and they're giving you high fives and hugs and they're excited. Like you said, if we could just bottle that.
Yeah, totally. And I think also like acknowledging, I mean, there's a lot of nervous students and nervous parents. And so I think that's the benefit of knowing your students and knowing your staff is like, I already know my, a handful of kids tomorrow where, okay, I need to have an aide ready for this student to walk her around and show her where the closest bathroom is to her new classroom. And that's what's neat, maybe for us about being at our schools for a while, like starting year 5 now. I know like where to focus my efforts better, than I ever have before. And so that's really exciting. Yeah.
And I think, shoot, isn't there a children's book about like it turns out being the teacher, like, I don't want to go to school. And it's jitters. Yep. Yeah. And it's the teacher. I mean, teachers and principals don't sleep well the night before school too, but I think it's so important to recognize that you're going to have a lot of kids who are coming on. Maybe it's a new teacher to the school and they don't know who that teacher is, or they've heard things about that teacher or whatever. I mean, and they're freaking out. I mean, it reminds me of, I told this story before, I think in episode 5, but when my daughter, who is now going to be a junior, when my daughter was going in 4th grade, she was in that same boat. She was extremely, very, very nervous about starting school. She was going to a new school. We just moved. She didn't know any of the teachers there. She had like one person that she knew, and she was really having a hard time. And I remember at the time I was still teaching 5th grade, and I was in my classroom leading up to the beginning of school, getting it ready. And I remember thinking, as I was getting my classroom ready, I was thinking about my daughter and thinking, man, if she could just see her classroom, if she could just hear her teacher's voice or see her teacher, do you know how much how much that would lower her anxiety. I mean, it would have made such a difference, and it gave me an idea. And then I went home. I came back. I borrowed my dad's flip cam. So, I mean, that was the technology at the time. I said, Dad, can I borrow your flip cam? So I took his flip cam to my room the next day. It was all ready, and I just walked around the classroom with the flip cam and just said, hey, boys and girls, this is Mr. Coley. If you're going to be in my class this year, here's what your room looks like.
Here's that's so cool.
Here's where the bean bags are, where you're going to be able to read, and here's the I mean, and just gave it about a 2.5-minute guided tour of the classroom with me narrating, and I threw that up on I had a classroom website at the time, and I threw it on my website. And I remember, because I was thinking, if somebody in my classroom, if one of the 32 kids on my roster are feeling like my daughter, how much of an impact could this make? And I remember I asked on the first day of school, hey, did anyone watch the vid? It was like 3 kids. It was like 3 kids. But I think the point of that is, but if those 3 kids slept better the night before school, then all of that effort, and it wasn't a lot of effort, to do that, it was so worth it, because that kid was my kid. And and nowadays, shoot, we've got our cell phones.
Exactly.
You can do that so quickly, and with literally a couple taps, throw that sucker up on YouTube, and you're good to go. And I just think, so I mean, if anyone's listening and you're getting ready for your classroom, I would highly encourage something like that. And if some people are listening thinking, well, I don't like to be on camera. I wasn't on camera. I was behind the camera, walking around the room. It was just my voice. But again, I think that would make such an impact on your kids. And every single class has those kids who are nervous beyond belief to come to school, probably many of them in tears the night before, just because it's unknown, and a lot of kids don't do well with unknowns. So
okay, so now I'm so happy that we did this today, because right when we get off, I'm just going to go take a little tour of the hallways and see what's going on. And I mean, I'll just tweet that out real quick, and
there we go.
I might even just like sneak up on some teachers and be like, what's going on in room 3? What are we doing?
Perfect.
That's such a cool idea. I've never thought about that.
And and with Twitter, I mean, like you said, even if it's not video, maybe it's just still pics that you're putting out there on your school. Like, you do a great job of your school's Twitter feed. I mean, putting it out there. I mean, you saying that reminds me, I need to do that. I mean,
that's one thing. Like, this day, like tonight is one of my favorite nights of the year. I'll just go. When everyone's off campus, I will just go room to room. And I mean, the classrooms are amazing. Like, the way that the teachers will leave them today, ready for their kids tomorrow. And I'll just find little nuggets and little pieces and little corners, and I'll take some pictures, and I put some collages together, and I do tweet those out. But those are some of my favorite pictures from last year. It's just like the campus is still and quiet, and everything is so ready to welcome everybody back.
That's exciting.
I reminded my husband that he's totally on dinner duty tonight, because I'm like, tonight's the night before school. They're late because I got to wait for everybody else to leave before I do my walkthrough.
Well, as you said that, I'm just jotting some notes down here. I mean, I'm totally going to do that. That's a great idea.
I look for, like, I don't know, just little details that you might miss when a classroom's filled with, 24 to 30 kids all of a sudden. You might not see all the little details that the teachers put in. So
yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Anything that you do with your staff in terms of building, I mean, because culture is so, we want it to be exciting for our kiddos, but it starts with us. I mean, if we're excited, they're going to be excited. Anything that you do that you want to share with anyone listening?
Yeah, well, I feel like my staff is my class. I tell kids all the time, like, I'm just like the big teacher at school. And so I'm the one who woke up at 2 a.m. and couldn't go back to sleep last week, the night before my teachers came back, because I just want that first day back to be so fun for them. So I usually provide breakfast and lunch, and then we brought in a guest speaker this year. We had John Stevens come do some math work with us, and oh my gosh, it was awesome. And we gave out his newest book, Table Talk Math.
Yeah.
It was so cool. So we did that, and then, but I unveil a theme every single year. I started it, I guess this is my 4th year doing it, and that is something that is super fun. For me personally, I try to go shopping and buy all kinds of little things that go with our theme, but I try to tie it into like a central message that is going to hold us together throughout the whole school year. So a couple years ago, we've done Dive In, and then we did Saddle Up. Last year was The Power of One. And then this year, our theme is Treasure. And it does help that there's a Bruno Mars song that goes along with that. I talked with my staff. I try to give just a little quick, inspirational blurb. And I just said, as learners, think back to when we were students, there were things that we treasured about our educational experiences. And you guys are about to spend the next, 9 months creating that for your students. And what do you treasure about your learning experience? What do you treasure about this profession? And what are you going to create in your classroom this year so that your students just feel like they're filled with treasure? Every day it's like looking for the little things. So our school theme is something that's really fun to kind of keep us grounded, and we just keep circling back to it throughout the year. So yeah, that's something I always look forward to in the beginning.
I love that. I love that treasure theme and celebrating, like, what are we going to do? I mean, it reminds me of Weston Kieschnick and his wife Molly do a podcast. I don't know if you've heard Teaching Keening.
No, I haven't.
It's awesome. I mean, they take a different movie or television show and take a scene from it and talk about how it applies to education. I mean, it's awesome. So Weston, if you're listening, you're the man. And but they just did one on like the show Scrubs.
Oh, legit.
Yeah, exactly. And they were talking about how the importance of celebrating what you're great at. And I think oftentimes, like when you said that treasure, it's like, what are you going to do that what do you treasure? What are your kids going to treasure? And I think that's so important, of the need to not just look for outstanding learning experience and stuff like that, but celebrating what we're great at.
Right. Definitely.
And capitalizing on that. So no, I love the theme idea. We have a similar thing. I'm going to be taking something from John Ike. John Ike. I've got one of his talks that he did up at CapQ. We're going to show that and take, for anyone listening, I'm not going to reveal it yet. You're going to have to wait.
You got to keep it on the DL.
Because we're not back yet. We don't start yet.
Yeah, you cannot give too much away about the start back.
But I will say John Ike. It has to do with John Ike. So John, if you're listening, you're also the man.
Yeah, anything with John is going to be amazing. I can already tell. But it is fun. I mean, I start getting texts a couple days before school starts. My teachers are like, "Any hints on the theme?" And I'm like, no, and I try to always include a personal aspect to this. I mean, I think we'd be remiss to not talk about the emotional strain that being an educator takes on all of us. And so, like last year with Power of One, I talked a lot about what's one thing you promise to do for yourself all year long. And with Treasure, it was the same thing. Like, as a person, as a human, what do you treasure? Is it walks on the beach with your family? Is it, being outdoors? Is it curling up by yourself and reading a book? Like, you have to commit to doing that for yourself this year. I need everybody on this campus to be their best selves this year so that we can just knock it out of the park for our kids,
Yeah. It's like you gotta, if a plane's going down and those oxygen masks go down, what do they say? Put yours on first. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of those in your care.
That's right.
So no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I am a little jealous that you have a few more weeks to plan out your start of the year, but you're welcome to creep on ours so that you can steal any ideas that might.
I will definitely be following your Twitter feed I already follow you, but I'll be definitely following your school's thing over the next couple of days. And I've already got a couple, like that pic collage of the new classrooms. I'm totally doing that. So.
Yep.
That's good stuff. Well, Amy, thank you. You are busy, so I don't want to take more of your time. And you mentioned it at the beginning, but let listeners know if they want to connect with you online on Twitter and such, where can they find you again?
Oh, sure. So our school is at Penn Panthers, and then my personal Twitter is at Mrs. Fadeji. So it's kind of a crazy last name, but do some creative spelling and you'll figure it out.
Awesome. Well, Amy, thanks again. Good luck with, though you don't need luck, it's going to be great, but have a great first day tomorrow. And as people listen to this, you will have already started. But and thanks everyone for listening. I always appreciate you tuning in and for the feedback that you've given. We really appreciate it. Again, you can subscribe. We are in iTunes and Google Play. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. And if you like what you hear, you can give us a review in iTunes. Once again, thank you, Amy. Thanks everyone for listening. And until next time, have a good one.